Hola, audiencia, y bienvenidos a Oye Cinema Club. I'm tonight's host, Jason Ishmael Eccles, and I'm gonna do a great review for you guys. I'm very excited about doing this one, but I'm not alone. I've got people with me. Uh, Steve Dez, El Dondino, and Marina Love, the dignified couch potato. Hey guys! So this week we're reviewing House Party, the 1990 teen comedy. So the reason I chose this movie, I've been wanting to talk to you guys about this for a really long time. I got some ideas and I got some things to say, so I'm going to want to hear your feedback as well. Um, also, also, I guess I picked this because I was reminded about it because Criterion recently released a box set this year. They did a Criterion collection of this, so I thought that was pretty exciting. And I was kind of looking through the box set or whatever to see like what stuff they had. And I was like, you know what? I think everybody has to watch this. So I've been kind of like trying to get it in the cinema club for years because I think this movie should be talked about. I think it's tragically underrated and underknown, and not enough people have seen it. We're going to find out in a sec if you guys have ever seen it before. Um, but that's the reason that I chose this movie. Typically, I know I pick a movie that I've never seen before, but this one I've seen plenty of times. So I'll give you my first impression last. I like to go into first impressions. How about ladies first this evening? Marina, what's your first impression?
So, my first impression of House Party, um, I obviously have heard this movie, and I feel like I've seen parts of it. Like you go over to family's house or something, and it's on, but I've never sat through and watched the entire thing. So my first impression of it was obviously like I knew a couple of the jokes and the funny moments and the dance sequences, but I never watched it from front to end. And I still think watching it for the first time in 2026, it's still, what is that, 36 years later? I still think it's like very entertaining. Like I laughed, understood the struggles, and it's just like so interesting that a movie like this is in a time there's like no cell phones, and it's always good to like watch a hidden gem. It's not hidden. A lot of people know about House Party, but it's like it's still cool that it's entertaining, even though it's like we live in way more modern times now. But yeah, it was good. It was cool to see some people and like being so much younger, like so many people that have like made great things in the future too. Seeing them at a younger age, but overall, my first impression was just like glad I finally watched it, so I can renew my half black card, and also it was also really cool to be entertained and find it funny and still like, wow, this still is a good film that people can enjoy.
Right on. Right on. Super cool. Super cool. Uh, all right. Well, let's top to bottom it. Steve is TV. What's your first impression of House Party?
My first impression, and thank you for saying that, because I'm definitely a top and Dino's a bottom. But and
Okay.
it's Pride Month. It's Pride Month. Um, House Party, first time watching it from a top guy, Steve. First time watching it, never seen it before. First thing, my first impression thing that I was like, I need the answer of this was, does the kid hair is that real or is that fake? Because I was
That's
just,
that's real.
it's real.
Mhm.
Wow. Because I was like, this is a crazy wig. But if that's real, that is an insane amount of hair. Shout out to the dude. Um, Another thing, I was like, wow, this is so old that freaking Martin Lawrence is here, skinny as heck. Like this dude looked like he was heavy on food stamps. He needed help. This helped with his career. Also, another thing that I thought while watching this movie, I was like, wow, if this movie doesn't get made, like things like Friday don't happen, because it gave me like a lot of those vibes of just like putting together an ensemble of people and just making the movie about the situation and the environment and kind of like encapsulating this whole thing. So it's really really cool that like a movie like this kind of kickstarted a lot of these type of movies. Also, another thing was like while watching the film, I was like, oh, a lot of things have been taken from this movie and like done in like other stuff because I felt like I watched many things that reference this in particular. And then the other thing that I thought while watching the film was like, wow, for being such an old film, like it was highly entertain, entertaining. So like back in the day when I was like a young kid, my dad used to work. So he used to repair electronics, and like he was working in like a repair shop. And in that repair shop, they will have tons of VHSs, like tons and tons of them, and one that always stood out was House Party, and it was because it was colorful, and of course the dude's hair, like it always stood out. But I never got to see it until now, so I'm surprised that still up to this day is a movie that's very enjoyable. It's definitely a movie that you can like throw in the background and like watch and stuff, or just have it playing and stuff. And yeah, and it's quite fun. Maybe not all the jokes hold up, but like it's it's a fun movie. So that's my first impressions.
Very cool. Very cool. You said some stuff I want to talk about too, Steve. Dino, what do you got?
So,
What's your first impression?
I've seen this before. I know I've talked about in Paraguay that we would go to the movie rental video club, and most black movies, like black cast, their covers were just better. And as a little boy in Paraguay, I was like attracted to those. So I watched, House Party 2. The other one is a Class Act or um, whatever their other movie is.
It's class act.
To do- yeah, Class Act and all that. And mainly just because of the poster and stuff. I mean, you little kid, Dino, walk, walk, walk. And then it's like, what is going on? That hair is so crazy. And they're looking at a girl. So
Yeah.
that's how I would pick the movies at the club if it wasn't like an action movie or whatever, if there wasn't Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, I would be picking like Keenan, more money, more problems, and yeah. So anyway, so this up my alley. Now we were talking about last time. I couldn't remember House Party. I kept saying what Kid and Play was, and then I realized watching this movie shouldn't be longer than 90 minutes. It just really drags on. But again, it has some great things. I mean, it's basically super bad, right? It's like that's super bad is basically
Mhm.
House Party, right? I mean, there's even the two bad cops, in a different sense, like, but you have the knucklehead cops, and they're trying to get to a house party. They get sidetracked. They got to run away. They're being, all that stuff. So that was one of the things I kind of thought about when watching it this time. Yeah, see, I mean, man, you also had George Clinton. Like, I don't remember ever seeing him that young. And
Uh,
he's got one of the best lines. I had to like write it down.
two
I
tears in
might
a bucket. Bucket.
Yeah, I might try two tears in a bucket. Fuck it. Let's take it to the stage. Like, what? Of course. Why not? Yeah, so there's some things I really did like. Without Kid and Play and that dance, there's no RRR dance bros. You know what I mean? Like, their dance, like, that's legit. And then who's the old guy who's also the dad in frickin' Friday? Who was the neighbor in this?
John Witherspoon.
John
Man,
Witherspoon, Pops.
he kept
All right.
saying I bought this house for 15,000. What in like LA? Get out of here. When did you buy it for 15,000? Like, that's insane.
Had to be back in
Um,
the '60s, huh?
man, must have been nice. Another thing, oh, so, okay, I'm kind of going all over the place, but basically, such a difference now that I've lived in the US, like I've seen all these other movies, like holy shit, I recognize Dolomite, right? Like we did Black Exploitation, we did those movies, and like that's what the dad had rented and wanted to watch, and then they were quoting it. And then when he was sneaking out, that's what was playing on TV. Like stuff like that, that as a kid, of course, went out. Also, language wise, I don't know where my mom was. This must have been during like summer break, and she was like teaching at on another college or whatever. Because man, like the stuff they were saying, and then the sniff, like they would actually do the sniffing and then smells like pussy. It's just insane. So, and not CPT, but Japanese people time. I'm like, what? It's like part of me was also it kind of felt like Cat, in the event. I get that reference as like after, living in the US and living in Chicago and like making some really close friends, best friends that, African American and all that. I'm just like, oh wow, I've been now inside of a lot of the culture and like all these other references just completely elevated. So yeah, that was kind of it was like this weird like not anthropological but like or sociology kind of revisiting my childhood watching these movies and just like getting like some of the physical gags. Like, where's the guy squeaking talking, right? Like the one
Oh, Pee-wee.
thug. Yeah. Oh my God. Because then when you get it dubbed in Spanish, usually they have a very squeaky character, and it's
Right.
usually Martin Lawrence. So anyway, I don't know. That was all over the place. Just random things I was thinking about it. Oh, so corny. If there was ever a time to describe something as corny, this was it. So, yeah,
You said as horny or corny?
corny.
Horny.
Corny.
So thanks, guys. Like you guys actually gave me a lot to think about. Yeah, of course, Dino, I was going to bring up the Superbad reference because I don't think a lot of people give this movie credit, and they love Superbad so much. People always talk about how Superbad's their favorite movie, and it's so funny. And no shade to Superbad, but Superbad is a direct rip of this movie. It's the same plot. It's the same like kind of core group of friends. You know, you got the two best friends, and then you got the outsider, insider like McLovin. It's really Martin Lawrence, right?
Yep.
As a third guy. So it's like it's the same. The cops, like you said, it's the
It's
same
not the
movie,
same because it's with white people.
right? But Seth
The
Rogen
two girls.
essentially his biggest movie is this, and no one ever brings it up. Like it never happened. He clearly ripped this movie. There's no way he wrote the same movie. There's just no way. But this thing it's super funny, man. I'm glad you guys said that. For me, I've seen this movie a lot. It's one of those movies that was kind of like always on, and if it was on, I was watching it. It came on cable a lot growing up. Like I probably rented it a few times. We might have owned it if somebody like maybe my sister had it or something. But I used to watch this thing like nobody's business. Like I love this movie. I love Kid and Play. Um, what I didn't realize, because I haven't seen it in so long, how many stand-up comedians are in this thing? There's five of them. So you got John Witherspoon, Robin Harris as the dad, Barry Diamond, who was the cop, the one of the cops, Martin Lawrence, and AJ Johnson. It's like, wow, dude, like this thing is loaded with like West Coast comics at that time. So, this thing is obviously, going to be super funny. You got, Tisha Campbell's first time and AJ Johnson. They're just like super cute together. They feel like best friends who kind of have a little between them. You know what I mean? Like, and Kid and Play, they feel like best friends. This feels like Honestly, a lot of this feels like how I grew up. Like this feel like other than like the very brash characters, but all the outside surrounding characters, these feel like people that I like grew up around. I feel like this movie's super authentic to like black culture and the black experience. What I really love about it, it's a teen comedy and it's fun and it's supposed to be funny and you're supposed to have a good time when you watch it. You know, the dancing makes you feel good. Arguably one of the best dance scenes, most iconic dance scenes in Hollywood history, like flat out. Like they kill it. Um, and it's like people do those dances like to mimic it. Like that is their dance is now a dance that people do. Do the kid and play, you know, that's crazy. Um, I do think though that like a lot of times in movies before this, like the 70s and 80s, it was always like exploiting like some type of like black trauma. Like that was the only movies we really got before this. There were some comedies for sure. But this one's just fun and there's no real like black trauma. I mean, other than getting like stopped by the cops, but they make it like a funny thing in the movie because of the way it's all sort of handled. You know, the cops are kind of like buffoons or whatever, but it doesn't like let them slide either because it's like that's what black people are really dealing with. So it could be almost like unconscionable not to mention it, you know, which is just makes the movie like so much more. I think I guess I can say like powerful because it's trying its best to tell the truth, but it's trying also not to be like you know make victims out of these characters. Uh, yeah, it's also funny that like all these mid 20 people are playing. They're all mid 20 comedians basically, and they're playing like high school kids, but they're being very earnest about it. You know, outside of like Kid and Play, Reginald Hudlin, who directed this, he did a really smart thing. He took these two rappers, these two entertainers, and he surrounded them all with very funny, very
Yep.
talented actors. And he's like, you know what? Like they're funny, they're cool, they're very entertaining. But if we surround these guys with a bunch of funny people and comedians, you know, who are all unknown essentially, I think this thing can fly. And it does, man. Even some of the smaller characters are like big actors. Like I think it's what's her name? Shireen, like her I guess her brother in the house who's on the phone when Tisha Campbell comes over. Like that's Clifton Powell. And that's the first time I ever noticed that. Like, dang, Clifton Powell is playing like a big part in this movie. He has like two lines. And he kills it. He feels like a big brother who's like looking for a party to go to that night. You know, with no shirt on and like she's like living in the projects, which is like also awesome. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, so those are like my impressions of the movie this time around. Like I said, I'm fond of this thing. I don't know if I said it, but I think this movie for the 90s, this kind of sets the tone for the whole 90s for me. Because I feel like this like fashion wise, this thing is brilliant. Whoever did the costume designs and picked up the clothes for these kids, it's so good. It's so relevant for the time. Everybody is like they all look so good. You know what I mean? Going to a party with like their best clothes on, you know? You know, with their own style and individuality, and it felt very 90s. And it's early 90s. Like this is how people like wanted to dress for like the first half of the 90s. You know what I mean? It wasn't until like 95 that things really started to shift, I think, fashion wise, maybe 93. But this was it. And the weird style, the hair, and it's just, you know, eraser head. Like it's all very funny, man. Um
I gotta
so
ask, the Martin Lawrence, the vest, was that really that big? Because it's in a bunch of movies from like the early '90s. Like Kids Get Up, like all these like. Well, I guess it was the Arsenio look also, right? Like like a vest over a really baggy button up.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I feel like this movie kind of set the tone for everything. This is remember if this came out in 90, it was probably filmed
yeah,
in 89.
right.
And you know, they took something and turned it into like what would become like urban fashion, you know, in 1990. It's pretty incredible because like I can't think of an earlier example of when like this type of fashion was used.
Yeah, because then coming to America and all that, like I was doing double takes because I thought the one girl, I was like, is that the sister in Coming to America? Like, because their outfits were so similar, kind of a sporty, almost, like, yeah. And I was like, wait, that's what they're using to go out? But hey, house party. That's
Was
that's
AJ
crazy.
Johnson coming to America?
No,
Okay.
but
Um
Yeah, she reminded me of the sister with the just the energy and the outfit.
I like what you said, Steve, about like basically, house party, ran so that Friday could fly, essentially. Like, I think there is something to that. It's a shame that there's
Yeah.
like a 5 year gap in between like those two movies. But when I look at it now, like 5 years is not that long. Like five, those two movies coming out in the same 5 year period seems weird, doesn't it? I mean, to me, it does. Seems like it was ages between those two movies. I guess as a kid. Um, I wanted to ask you guys about, I mean, obviously we're going to get into like favorite character, but there's so many characters in this movie, and I feel like all the small characters really deliver. Even the ones who had like one line, or little bits, like they make the movie. Like they make the movie so memorable. And I remember like growing up, like we use so many of these lines in movies. So I'm gonna ask you guys like both questions. What's your favorite line in this movie? What's something that like you probably would say a whole lot in your outside world? Because this movie was very quotable.
Um
Dino said the one.
so that's one. Another one is in prison or jail when he's rapping and then because to be funny he raps. It's like if you're funny they won't beat you up or they
Yeah,
won't they won't the R word. I don't want to get demonetized, right, Steve? But he was talking about like AIDS and you will go out like Liberace and whatever. And those are some wild lines. Not necessarily that I would say them, but just like the rhymes that he was doing there to try to not get, make him drop the soap, basically. Yeah, was wild. Um,
I love that there was a rap sequence in this movie. Like
I
he
got
finally got to like practice his raps, and you're like, oh no, he's really good. Of course, we know he's good. He's a rapper, but it's also to see that that's kind of like his superpower in the movie.
I
and
I got a couple
yeah,
lines.
go for it.
I really like the line where he's basically shutting the door on his bullies, and he's like, "I wish I could come out and play with you tonight, but I'm a little busy with your girl on my lap."
Yeah.
Like shuts down the door. It's funny, and then one thing which I wanted to mention in my first impression, but I didn't, so I mention it now. The
Mhm.
only thing that makes, I mean, apart from the hairstyle, but like the other thing that makes this a little dated is they're playing, I mean, they're playing Public Enemy, but like the fact that you're hearing Flavor Flav, I'm like, yo, what? Like
And
they're
he was
playing
in.
Flavor Flav in a freaking party. Like this is crazy. And they're not
Don't
playing
you
just one, they're not just playing one song, they're playing multiple. And then the
don't you
line that
mean Public Enema?
yeah, so that's the line that I was gonna say before you said it. But yeah, the
Is that
public
Public
animal.
Enema?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Mm.
I definitely like the door part too, where it is funny how it goes, right? Like I feel like people lump black people into one category, and it's like no, no, even like people in the hood, there's levels to this. Like nobody wants all that. Like sometimes people are about that life, and some people are just trying to have a house party with their friends. I think that was like it's just a cool thing where it's like on one hand it'd be cool if they could all be friends, but on the other hand it's really it's not just all there's so many layers to black people. It's not just like everybody's a gangster. And I just feel like I hope somebody watched this movie that was watching some of the movies where it is a lot of black trauma, and it does just push the agenda that everyone is in a gang and everyone you know what I mean, like just I do like that dynamic. And I like the line where he was just like, if I would have invited you, I would have got a metal detector. It was pretty funny, like, and I
Oh
just like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I liked that. It shows that like, yes, these are young people who are having a house party behind their parents' back. It's not just something that white people do. Like everybody wants when they're young to congregate with their friends, even though they have a curfew. So I just like the whole dynamic of like what happens outside of your home, what happens inside. It was like probably wasn't meant to be as powerful as it felt for me, but I still liked pretty much that whole scene.
That's what I was saying. It was so corny because some of those lines, I was like, wait, what? For like a rated R movie, some of like the disses were just pretty ridiculous. Uh, Jason, you're talking about like it was like 5 years before Friday.
Mhm.
Well, they had Class Act. They had like three
That's
other
true.
house parties before that, so they were
That's true.
popping out like a movie a year. Now, what I will say is more so than the 5 years.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
What kind of is, and maybe I don't know enough, right? Because I only got X amount of movies. You have the Wayans movies that are its own like sitcom parody, all that. Then you have this Kid and Play that are like for somewhat teenagers, even though it's rated R. But it's kind of what I was thinking was like John Hughes, right? For like the white teen movies of like I feel this is what those movies kind of
Yeah.
represent, and that's what I think maybe disappeared. Because then you had Friday and all that, and that's for more adult. It's almost like the people that were growing up with Kid and Play and all that kind of graduated to that. But it seems like the black community, Latino, all that kind of lost that type of movies of just like, teenage, yeah, house party
We need
movies.
a raunchy teen comedy for brown people. There
And not
hasn't been
just
one in
house
a long
party
time.
in I didn't watch the 2023 one. I just couldn't make myself watch it.
But you're saying for Brown, like we don't really have one for. You're saying
We
for
we
Hispanic.
we haven't had one in a long time. Is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like we lost like the communities other than like again the John Hughes movies, whether Pretty in Pig, 16 Candles, uh um the guy Days Out, First Bueller's Day Out, like all these movies that were around like high school in Chicago suburbs. I feel like these kind of had that place, but then they never picked it up anymore. It only was able to be like action or a Eddie Murphy comedy, like Martin Lawrence driven, and it always was kind of like a buddy cop team up, even though it wasn't necessarily that they were cops, or the changing places, right? The Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, those
Yeah.
always happen. Like for a while, it was Lawrence and Martin. I think it was Martin Lawrence and who's the guy from Shawshank? The tall Tim Robbins' son.
Morgan Freeman.
Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins and Martin Lawrence, right? There's like they switch positions also. It's like there really isn't like a high school kind of movies anymore for at least during that period of the 90s after this till for a very long time. Like what's the last one you would think that's more for the ethnic group of people, Latino?
I just feel like the ones
RRR.
it's funny. I just feel like the ones that have come out since have not been like raunchy teen comedies. And there's something about a raunchy teen comedy that because it's R, it can get adults into the theaters too. If it's
Right.
not that, adults really don't want to see a bunch of teenagers figure out teen angst. But if you make it raunchy, for whatever reason, everybody can identify with that because the raunchiness of it kind of like makes it a little real. And teenagers always know how to make things funny. There's something about teenagers experiencing anything for the first time that just kind of is comedic.
it
And
reminds you of.
talking about funny, since we're talking about funny lines, there's this one line that if I don't say it, I will hate myself because nobody has mentioned it
Yeah,
yet.
what is it?
And it's the line in the beginning of the movie where he says that he was mad because he called his bully called his mom a hoe,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
the the director says, "Now, why would you call his mother a gardening tool?"
And they do that. I mean, and they're just like it's so corny and stupid and silly, but great, right? And like the thugs in school are so ridiculously like their outfits, like
They're like 29 and 30 years old, by the way.
Well,
when they
Kid is
made this movie.
26. Kid
Huh?
is 26. Kid is
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
26.
no, they were in their mid, like most of them are in their mid 20s, but they're like in their early 30s, some of the bullies.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, like, speaking of what Dino is saying, like, I'm conflicted with I just feel like there's a part of me that, like, yes, this is a great movie and it's always great to have these stories, but I do kind of like the fact that we've kind of gotten away from like stereotypical, like the stereotypes they tried to label on black and brown people. And so it's tough. It's like, how do we make a movie that's predominantly black and brown without like weird dibs at the culture? And so
So,
it's like it's a tough space to be in. So I can appreciate that, like, there's more people, like slowly but surely it's not just the token black friend, and more so like TV shows I think have been keeping like high school stories alive more than anything. So it's kind of cool to see the diversity. So I don't really know the solution, like what I know. And again, I didn't watch the remake to this either, and I'd be very curious how they did that, like by paying tribute to the culture without making it stereotypical. So I definitely gonna give that a watch to see. But yeah, I don't know what movie I would want. Like, what
mm,
would make me happy? Because I'm either gonna be like, that's
Well,
disrespectful,
the
or
remake, I think, is like it's really famous actors, and I think he's a house cleaner, and he loses his job, and he's cleaning LeBron's house or some like NBA star house, and decides to have throw a house party there, and then
hmm,
it's like every black artist, I feel like comedian, musician, and then even athletes kind of pop up in the movie.
I
got
love
That's
that you watched that movie,
I didn't watch it. I just saw a trailer and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
I've already seen this movie. I don't need to watch it." But that's the premise. Like he's house cleaning LeBron's house or some like famous basketball player, and he got fired, so he decides to have a house party. That's
yeah. I didn't
completely
even know it
yeah.
came out, and I like watching Jacob Lattimore things. I think he's in it, but
Okay.
yeah, it's on my list. Maybe it is, maybe it's what we need. Maybe we'll see, like what goes
Yeah.
there. But yeah.
So you were saying about I think the difference with this film, because then another group, then you have the Spike Lee films, right? Which are, I just, this seems like it's all being made by the same group of people, right? From the same, like you said, they had the rappers or Kid and Play, and let's surround them with comedians of that time, up and coming. That's why I do feel like it was a bit long because they were just like, we'll just have people doing bits. And maybe that's why I like Class Act more because it was almost like they refined it more. I mean, it's always kind of, if I'm not mistaken, all the house parties and all of their movies are basically the same beats. They're basically the same characters, and they just are put in different situations. Uh, but I think where it matters is that maybe then when Jason brings up the numbers and all that, you can see what happens again when it's a same group of people that are actually in charge of doing it, right? I don't know how much studio bumped in or try to do stuff, or if it's another one of those kind of like on the indie side of like, yeah, this movie won't really get pushed or whatever, but it did enough money to have five house parties or more.
yeah, yeah, that's true. It is definitely has a very strong IP. And obviously, the time and when it came out, VHS was starting to become everything. So
Yep.
this thing had a second life in like video rental stores for sure. Like this, that's probably how most people have seen this movie, right? Um, so I'm gonna segue. I'm gonna tell you guys my favorite line. Actually, I'm not even gonna tell you my favorite line. I was gonna tell you one of my favorite scenes from my favorite characters, and there's so many, but I wanna ask you guys who your favorite character is. But because my favorite character also has my favorite like bits, it's Robin Harris, Pops. He's
Mm.
so funny, man. I mean, he's the funniest comedian in this thing to me, and I think he's one of the funniest comedians ever. He just died prematurely, but when he gets to the party and he starts going off on all the kids, it's like it's just kind of hilarious because I feel like that's what a black dad would do, but also with Robin Harris doing it, it's so funny, and like like oh you don't ever you won't get away from the cops because they just follow the drip.
Oh my
Gotta
god, the Jerry curl.
with the Jerry curl, it's just like, and I can only imagine there was so much on set where he's just improvising and going off on these kids, and the director, like I don't know, but I just imagine there was a lot of improv, and they just sort of cut him loose and said, just make fun of the kids. So yeah, that's my favorite bit and lines technically, and character. Like, who are you guys' favorite characters, or who did you identify with?
I
I'll go
really,
with this. Oh, go for it.
I just like Shireen.
Yeah,
City girls are up. She
yeah, for sure.
she did not give a fudge. She was exactly who she wanted to be.
Mhm.
And even though like you would think like the hot friend would have like more lines and stuff, I think it was kind of well done that like she's clearly the one that
The more
everybody
confident
likes,
one.
but she did a good job blending in and just being one of the friends, and like,
Mhm.
you know, she knew who she was, but she also respected her friends' feelings, and she just like, yeah, like I know I'm playing everybody, and kind of sad you took one of my options, but you know what? You go, girl. Like, I just liked her all around.
Yeah,
But
that's a
yeah.
good scene. I like that scene a lot, actually. Yeah, and I like their dynamic. I like her. What about you, Stephen? Dino? What do you guys got?
I have a scene since you brought out the scene, and honorable mention, dude that remind me of Mike Tyson, who passes out, and then they just put him by the door of his house and the screen door, and he just bah.
And he falls
That's
in house.
yeah, honorable mention. But I forget whose girl's house it is. They walk in. It's so awkward. That's like legit some of the funniest thing now that I think about it, because there's like no dialogue, and
Yep.
it's like grandma on the couch,
Uh
like
huh.
mom's, they're all just like sprawled out, like maybe there's one two words, then they're sitting outside, they ask for a Kool-Aid, it's got to be the youngest, which is a little boy, which I was the youngest, so we didn't drink Kool-Aid at home, but at like 8 they would send me to the store to pick up beer and Coke because you could, because that was a thing. And I had my little container, and you had to take the bottles, glass bottles, to like do the trade in with. So it reminded me of that. But then you think like, "Oh, get the Kool Aid," and it's like, we out. It's like make some. It's like, what was it? Grape or red? And it was like red, and it's like that little kid, like the comedic timing of that bit, and then you think like, okay, it's over, and then they walk, and then it's a picture, it just has a big ass bag of sugar. It doesn't say anything. It just is holding it the whole shot.
Yeah.
I have to go with that, man. That
Gino, I never considered it before, but those are terrific visual gags. And if you're thinking about the filmmaking aspect of it, the timing of the little boy walking in and out of their conversation, that it all goes together so seamless. And then like
and,
the
and,
cut to the sugar, and just like it's like a tableau of sugar just going into Kool-Aid. It's really good. You're right.
and it's such a great little bit of like, a little kid will bring and be like, pull up the picture, it's empty,
Right.
like
Yeah, right.
it's like, yeah, like, oh man,
Makes sense.
yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Well, just to add to that scene, just because I literally was in the dentist today, uh, the lady says like, "Oh my God, all that sugar is making my teeth hurt," and I was like, I felt that. I felt that 100,000%. I was definitely the kid, and I'm definitely the adult now, going like, that's a lot of sugar.
Oh
Um,
man.
there are so many, man. There's one scene that I was just like, what? And it's when kid is like escaping from his bullies, and then he climbs the fence, and he's there like watching people, like these two couple, whatever, having sex.
Mhm.
And I was just like, wait, what? So this dude is having sex, and he went from having sex to like grabbing a gun quickly and shooting. I was just like, what?
Just up top, just all
Like,
around.
what?
I really appreciate that scene, man. I'm going to tell you why. Because when I was a kid, I had to turn that scene down right away. The first time I ever saw the movie, because I'm like, oh, this is going to ruin it for me. Like, an adult is going to hear sex on the screen. They're going to make me shut this off, and I'm already too invested in the movie. I can't let this happen. So I remember
Oh,
turning
the
that
movie,
down.
not that scene.
No, not that scene, but I remember turning it down. So I never heard it the first time because I waited till the scene was over. But I do like that scene because I watched this time and I was paying kind of close attention to like how that whole action happens. And I kind of like that the guy keeps making the sex noises while he reaches for the gun as to not tip off the guy that he's about to shoot at. You know what I mean? So he's being like really cool to not tip him off. And I'm like, oh wow, like I can see it. I can see like the acting choice there. You know what I mean? Like before as a kid, you just sort of the acting in this movie was actually really good. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I believed all of it.
Just because there aren't a whole lot of female characters, but the woman, the neighbor that's sleeping and is just trying to get what's his face to like go to back to sleep,
Mhm.
and then like she's half sleeping or whatever and says another man's name, and like what? Like I don't know if it was Gary or what name, and then she's like, oh, like, it's really quick and like kind of you blink and you miss it. But it's like, uh-oh, was she just dreaming? Or but the way she also reacted, it was almost like, oh shit, maybe there is another guy in this relationship.
So I personally rank this very high on my top teen comedies of all time list. It's top three.
Oh
And
wow.
just respectfully, like I keep it, I would call it one, but sometimes I forget, like Clueless was really a fantastic teen comedy to me. So I kind of go back and forth with that, but it's a top three for sure, like all time. I was wondering, like, what's you guys' top teen comedy? What's your favorite teen comedy of all time? I think I know Marina's.
Well, let's let Marina go first, and we don't want to mansplain what Marina's favorite teen comedy is, Jason.
So Mean Girls is definitely in my top three. I don't really know. Like I have like, but it's right at the point where it's like almost too modern to be number one though,
Mm.
because I have to pay tribute to like for me because I'm a little younger than y'all. I had to pay tribute to like the She's All That's and the like
So that
just movies that came out in that era where I'm not a teenager yet, so I'm like looking towards it. Whereas Mean Girls, I was a teenager when that came out already, so it was like, oh, this is relatable, and that's why I like it. But I definitely think, having said it, I do think She's All That is like probably it's also in my top three. Um,
It's pretty good. Pretty good one.
and then I'd have to really think about the second one because like Mean Girls is in the three, but yeah, there's so many to choose from.
See, I would
Um,
have assumed you just went like straight Mean Girls, top
It's
teen
it's
comedy.
top. It's top, but like I said, like it wasn't one of the first, and unfortunately, I think some of the first things you see that kind of telling you what it's going to be like to be in high school. I think that holds more dear, and I always remember just loving her transformation, everything else that's going on. But you, yeah, I think a good middle one. I really like What's Love? What was it called? Love Don't Cost a Thing with like Nick
Oh, yeah.
Cannon and Christina Milian. I think that's it. Because like when I think about movies, like something I can rewatch over and over and over again. And all three of those movies I can watch all over, and they're from different phases. Like She's All That's the oldest. Um, and then Mean Girls and the other movie, I think they came out around the same time. So movies that came out while I was going through that age experience.
For me, I would say that I normally would have ranked like Superbad and stuff there. I'm not really a big teen comedies person, but when I was teen, the one that I used to replay a lot because he just made me laugh with the bits and the jokes and the black person thing and all this stuff was Not Another Teen Movie.
Sure, yeah. Yeah,
The
that was a
when
pretty
that
good.
came out, I watched that like crack, like just like all the time, just freaking consuming that one.
I would put that in my top 10 for sure. Cause like I think you like it because you don't like teen movies, and it's like a riff on it, like that trying to start the slow clap the whole movie.
It's
Right,
just
yeah, for
it's
sure.
full of it's full of bits, and that's what I
Yeah,
like.
Yeah,
no,
I can see that. Did
Um,
you give us one, Dino?
no, because I was trying to figure out, right? Like, is it a teen movie that I was watching when I was a teen, or a little later? Because Superbad is definitely up there because I feel like they did kind of refine. Also, a little bit for me, I was never cool dancing guy, so I feel like Superbad felt way more what I was doing with my friends. Of like, we'd all go and spend the night at one friend's house that was maybe a little more lax, or just like we knew we could go in like at 2 in the morning, or and possibly allegedly drink some devil juice and whatnot. So I just feel like super bad fits more in what I was doing in that period. uh but and I would ride the bus, and I ride the bus in that. But I'm trying to think, like, when I was a teen, because I think we're going for more of movies that have to do in high school, right? And like, it's weird because it's we only had in Paraguay we only had a limited amount of movies, and so we would rewatch the same movies like Encino Man over and over, or Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure. We would just watch it over and over and over again. Or do you include something like, right, Ghostbusters, that you would, that's no, we're going just for like teen, right? That doesn't fit. So I don't know. Encino Man, Bill and Ted, like those, I think when I was that age are the movies that I kind of watched a lot and kind of had fun. I mean, Bill and Ted, they're doing a history report for school, or they're gonna get, uh kicked out. So I think that I'll say that one. I'll say that one just because it is a movie that I own, and so I would. That's something I would be rewatching, especially before we had cable, which came way later.
Interesting choice. Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got some numbers. Oh boy, wait a second. Oh no, yeah, I got some numbers for you guys. So numbers, business segment with Jason, working on that sound bit. So this movie was made on a budget of $2.5 million in 1990, and its theatrical run was 26.4. So this
not bad.
thing did 10 times more than its budget. So pretty successful movie, all things considered. I mean, I don't know how
And
they
again, you
advertise.
have the VHS sales, that would have added to that.
Oh yeah, big time. Like yeah, the VHS rentals and sales. Yeah, and DVD. I'm sure really probably pushed these numbers way up there. And just for reference, because like Dino said, there was like, 4 or 5 of these freaking movies. Interestingly enough, the second movie was even less popular. Came out 1 year later.
Yeah.
So they knew they wanted to do this thing because it comes out 1 year later, budget 5 million, box office 19. Still a success. Took more money to make less a year later, which is kind of odd, but I don't know. I don't know why that happened. But then House Party 3, no budget confirmed, but it did about the same at the box office, 19.2. I'm sure the budget might have been a little bigger considering the success. Then the other ones were direct to video, and no need to even speak about the new one, the reboot. No shade to the reboot, but that's not the movie we're reviewing. And I
Did
don't even
did
know if you guys
did
want to count that, but I just give it to
did
you.
I? I don't. I think they had cameos, but I don't consider it being part of
Yeah, it's not a
the
part of the
the
yeah the canon or whatever you want to call it.
Class Act was straight to video then, or was that
No,
also
Class
in
Act.
theaters?
I didn't count that. I was just counting the house party
Oh,
party
got it,
IP.
got it, got it.
Yeah, Class Act. I don't know the numbers on that one.
Because the two of them did 7 movies. Sorry, they reminded me a little bit of Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, but for like kids, if that makes sense. They were in
Yes.
7 movies together, comedies, basically playing the same characters. I mean, he had the same haircut, I think, in every movie, and it
House
just
Party
got
3,
bigger.
I think he had switched over to the little locks in House Party 3. If
Well,
I remember
I
correctly.
in a a class act, a class act is a Broadway show. Uh, he has it, but that's one where they swap uh um
Identity.
personas,
Yeah, persona.
and kid has they make him get rid of his fro that's like aerodynamic, supposedly is why he had it, and he ends up with cornrows or
Yeah.
braids, and it's so
Spoiler.
that he can look more thuggish because he was, yeah, he got mistaken identity, so he had to pretend to be a thug.
Yeah, he wanted to be like cool, because he wanted help getting girls, right?
Well, that came into play, but that one was the one where their transcript gets swapped. And so then because he was going to be valedictorian, all that,
Mhm.
and play was kind of like, he's been to juvie already or whatever. He's like the bad boy and he gets in trouble, and their transcripts get changed. So all of a
Right.
sudden, uh, everyone automatically assumes that play is this like super smart valedictorian, and they just like completely trash, and so then they have to work together to try to blend in, and then it's, yeah, if you help me with my schoolwork, then I'll help you get girls because you gotta look cool, type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. We'll save that review for the next one. Um,
Faux show.
uh, yeah. So that I think takes us into our final thoughts on this movie. We'll just reverse order it again. Marina, are you prepared to give us your final thought? Final thoughts. Final thought.
Sure. Yeah, it was great having like a fun movie with like no complaints. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't the deepest story in the world, but it was I got a couple chuckles. It was nice seeing some people that have passed, like, you know, uh, uh, like doing what they loved most and paving the way for people who look like them to um be able to do comedy on television, not just in some club where only people that are in their community can see, but just really growing and leading the way for, like, like the Martins and like Fresh Prince. I think Fresh Prince came out the same year, but like just like it was really cool to it does feel like an origin story. Like you can feel what it was like when there was a cut. I can tell people just had a really good time, and they probably had zero idea what how this would impact um how this would affect comedy, and being able to have people that look like them be the main characters of comedy. So it's really cool. I guess I remembered the main two guys, and then I also remember that Tisha Campbell was in it, but I kind of forgot about so many of the other people, whether it was small or large roles. But really, I enjoyed it, and I felt the culture. I felt the power of it, and glad that it still can be entertaining. Even some of the jokes definitely couldn't be written today, but still, it still was a good watch. And I I feel like a lot of people watch this, but you know some of these youngins were starting to become the old heads. We can tell them. We can be like, you should go watch House Party, and so that's gonna be me now that I am indoctrinated into into the group of people. I am in the new crew of people who watch this, and
Well,
I can tell the youngins to get their history up and watch it.
nice. Very nice. Steve.
Okie dokie. Final thoughts. Really good movie. Still holds up, but also I'm probably like Marina, one of the few people in this cinema club that we had the opportunity to grow up in in the 90s, not the 1800s or the dinosaur age. Like that's why his name is Dino. It was actually after his great grandpa, great dinosaur. Um, and with that being said, Marina is dying. With that being said, I don't know if like Gen Z and stuff and like so on, people will actually appreciate this movie. That's the only thing, because like I still can feel the nostalgia of that era. You know, Marina mentioned the no cell phones and all that stuff. All that is stuff that we all collectively know, but like all these younger people like grow up with iPads in their hands. So I don't know, one, if they were gonna have the patience to watch something like this, and two, if they can even relate. Because what are the house parties they having these days on Roblox? I don't know.
Damn.
No Roblox were harmed in this review.
Like who is DJing? Like someone clicking two buttons, not Martin Lawrence.
Wiki wiki.
Like they might remember Martin Lawrence from his hit Bad Boys 3, still going at it, but when they see a skinny Martin Lawrence, they're like, what? They're not gonna comprehend that Martin Lawrence was once skinny. So anyway,
Once a young skinny man.
very young and skinny and on a welfare man. And now he's rich, successful, and fat. Anyway, those are my final thoughts because I don't know who I can recommend this to be honest with you.
No, the youngins will still listen. I have the power of half of me that I can black shame them into watching it. I can be like, you know what? You're not being very supportive of some of our original, kings of
Oh,
comedy.
and by the way, also, I want to give a shout out because I feel like they didn't get any love here. But like, I want to give a shout out to the bullies.
Full Force. So Full Force was a rap group as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they
Dude said they're like, oh, let's beat the door down, blah blah blah. He's like, let's burn the house down. Like, and they're like, whoa, whoa.
Wait. I love their voices. Do they talk like that, or was that a character preference? I guess I
that was
should have just.
definitely a character preference.
Okay, cool.
I love that his other two friends are like, "You're going too far."
Yeah.
We like being bullies, but we can't. You talk about killing people.
And
Arson.
then when they're in jail, of course the two lackeys kind of start like when dude starts rapping, when kid starts rapping, they're kind of like start also like getting into it, and he's gotta constantly look at them, and yeah, like bits for days for sure.
And
Oh,
also
one
when they
final
have
thing. Yeah.
when they have their gay moment in the car.
I'm
That
about to
was
whack somebody, and all I can't do is think about him. Like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if I go that far.
Um,
Guys,
hilarious.
it's final thoughts. You should have said this.
Final thoughts.
All right, Dino, you got a
oh,
final?
that was it for your final thought. Shit, I just forgot.
No, no. You want me to go while you
Yeah.
remember?
No, I mean that's just probably another side, you know, whatever. Yeah, who it's hard to recommend because it is a little long on the tooth and it is a bit slow. I mean, I feel like the house party can only go for so long. Um, so it would be again. I don't think it should be longer than 90 minutes. There are certain scenes that could be shortened or cut. I will say, talking about like trauma, he gets whooped at the end of the movie.
Hmm.
That's some like trauma right there, and kind of goes with the stereotype and things that have changed. That is kind of for a long time goes along the idea of pick a switch, get us, that kind of stuff. So that was like, out of all the lines, out of everything, when it cuts to black and you just start hearing him get whooped and stuff, like with the belt, I'm just like, ooh, like, it's like I remember, no, not that not that I remember getting whooped, but just that stereotype or that stigma of, how to, raise kids and stuff like that, and different athletes or that have gotten in trouble for, that kind of parenting. uh but yeah, this is almost like we talked a little bit about, so many movies took from this, and so it almost has to be looked, I feel like, in that retrospect or aspect, or kind of as a historical thing, which isn't always the most fun if you're kind of forcing yourself or forcing someone to see it. But yeah, I kind of saw the cast of, by the time they had the third one, they had Bernie Mac, Chris Tucker, TLC, like Eddie Griffin. Like, yeah, they were bringing people with them, which I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
is something that, not necessarily making their careers or whatever, especially straight to video, but that kind of community thing of like bringing, the people around you, or knowing like, hey, that person's funny, and kind of really reminds me like a movie like Life, right, where it's just like freaking all the black stand-up comedians are just in the movie, uh, knocking it out of the park. Anyway, so yeah, would I watch this again? Again, it is, as much as we talk, they're great moments. I feel like it's a long movie for what it is, but there are definitely some amazing scenes, and again, their dance is famous. Were they the first one to do that little kick? Oh, I remember what it was. The little kick dance. Is that what they actually came up with, or
Yeah,
was that always
I'm
a
pretty sure like
thing?
that's their thing. Yeah.
It wasn't Salt and Pepper or anyone else. But
Mhm.
the thing I did want to mention is, like, his diss is mumble rapper or mumble mouth,
Yeah.
which, it's just funny since all of a sudden mumble rap became the thing, right? And some of the
Mhm.
rappers, like, I don't remember my lines, I'll just like mumble through it. So
Back
that's
when
kind of like,
articulation was cool.
yeah, I know, I'm like, and again, that's kind of makes you think like, oh man, corny rapping, or oh, you can, but I like it. So yeah, thanks for picking this, because it definitely took me back to my childhood in Paraguay, if you believe that, not in Hollywood. So yeah, fun times revisiting this.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks. So my final thought is, yeah, this movie is definitely like a time capsule. I think for the culture, especially like LA culture. Like this might be the first time I've seen this movie since living in LA, and I'm like, oh crap! Like this is such an LA movie. All this is shot in LA. All this, the neighborhoods are LA. Like this is like a super LA movie. And then I'm really glad that um, Steve brought up Friday, because I'm like, yeah, this is also another movie that takes place exclusively in a neighborhood. It's all within one neighborhood, right? So like that's kind of funny and cool too. And the whole neighborhood is like in the movie, which is awesome. Um, yeah, I like this thing. You know, I started off saying that, and I I feel like there's so many quotable things and so many like memorable scenes in this movie, and that might just because I've seen it so many times. But I just feel like growing up, I could quote any line in this movie to nearly anybody, and they would just know the quote. It was like, you know, almost a second language. It's one of those movies that just really permeated the culture. Who would I recommend this to? I would recommend this to basically young people who want to see comedies, want to see teen comedies. I think because like if you want to see like a raunchy teen comedy, so I would say anybody like 30 to teenagers. Teenagers, I think, would still like this. Same way, like, you know, I liked Cooley High or Breakfast Club or whatever when I was a kid. Like I think teenagers are always going to want to see themselves because they're learning how the world works and how they need to interact socially and stuff. So they want to see other teens be social or have awkward moments or like how they deal with sex or drugs or peer pressure. Which I will say, I really like that the one kid in the movie who's drinking, nobody else at the party wants to drink. Like we don't want it. They really downplay alcohol in this movie, which I think is awesome. Because usually that's not what teen movies do. Like alcohol is like featured front and center. Nobody wanted it in this movie, and they made the guy who drank it into like kind of like had a wreck. He had a train wreck, right? Like he messed up his whole night essentially. So they're like, no alcohol, guys. I think that's very cool, very admirable, and very like decisive filmmaking. Like that was clearly a decision in the script or by the director or whatever. Uh, would I see this again? Yeah, I would see this again. I don't need to see it anytime soon, but it is such a piece of nostalgia for me. It makes me think about honestly other times I've seen it and moments that I've had in my life, and me trying to go to the party or the house party, and me trying to get on girls and hanging out with my buddies when I was and so yeah. So that I guess that concludes my final thought. I
And
really
no actual, just because you brought the alcohol, the no sex also, and even the
it's true.
such a dried up condom that
Yeah, nobody was having
it's
sex in this movie.
it's like it was quite a mess. Even though there is a lot of sexualization
They all
and
talk it
sex
up, but
talk,
nobody does
yeah,
it.
I
which
mean,
is
the
very
kids
high
can do
school
it, but there's the
thing as
guy with
well.
the gun that does it.
Huh? Say it again.
Yeah.
Take it down.
Wait, I
Just
missed it. Okay, you're not
Steve,
gonna say it.
I
Steve,
said that the kids didn't do it, but the guy with the gun did.
That's true. That's a good point. There was some sex in the movie for sure.
yeah.
It was funny sex, I think, because he's such a big guy. Okay, so that leaves me with one last question for the evening, and that's Steve. What do you got for us next week?
Next week, I am so glad you asked me. You know why?
Yeah, what do you? Why?
Because it is my turn
Ooh.
for
What do you
Cinema
got?
Club. And right now we are in a situation, where there's like war going on, and it's time to like bridge a gap to heal, And how do we heal? We heal with humor, And I'm going to do something that's unprecedented. I'm the only one in this entire cinema club that has been going for more than 6 years that is constantly innovating. And I'm going to do something that has never, ever, ever been done before in cinema club history. I'm actually going to do two things that had never been done in cinema club history. The number one thing I'm going to do is make you guys guess which film I'm going to pick. And if you guess right, you're going to host automatically the next cinema club. So you only get one guess. And we're going to start with the ladies first. So, Dino, you go first.
We might have already done it, but City of God?
No. Marina.
Dune.
Jason.
It has to wait. Is there a criteria? It has to be a Brazilian movie.
Already gave a lot of hints. I've been
Oh
giving
man,
hints.
He was saying like war stuff, so I mean, or oh, it's gonna be Borat. It's gonna be one of the great dictator or
Dino,
something like
you
that.
already went. Dino, you went first. Shut the fuck up. Jason.
I guess a war movie. I guess would be my guess. Uh, Platoon. I don't what.
No, ladies and gentlemen, nobody of these people that just guessed are going next for Cinema Club. So now you know.
Great clues.
The next movie we're going to watch for the first time in Cinema Club history. This has never, ever been done. We are going to watch one of not only Steve's favorite movies of all time, but one of those films that is has stood the test of time so much that it's time to open that jar and watch
I know what you're gonna say.
what's inside. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the next Cinema Club movie
Okay.
that we're going to watch.
Like,
Is
I
the
hate you
one
so
and
much right now,
only.
Steve.
The 2 minute intro for the movie.
We're going to watch Tropic Thunder, the DVD commentary version
Oh my god.
of Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was literally just at a bar last week and I said I've never watched this. And I was like, and my cinema club watched it and I was busy that week. And so that's going to be a really fun combo with that guy if I run into him again.
Just for the
Were
record, we
you
have seen this movie before, though, right?
No, I've never watched it.
No, like Cinema Club has seen it for sure,
No,
right?
Yeah.
Cinema Club. So Cinema
Yep.
Club, we have discussed the regular film, but we're going to
Okay.
watch the DVD commentary
Gotcha.
version
The
of
commentary.
Tropic
Gotcha.
Thunder that even myself has never watched.
Gotcha.
Steve? Jason, we were just having this conversation, right?
We were. I
Were you
thought
part
maybe you
of
put him
that,
up to this.
Steve?
Yeah, we were just talking about this the other day.
Stay
At
tuned.
the, at the movie theater, actually, I think. I don't know why, but or no, we were talking blackface is what it was, and then bringing
As we
up
do so much.
anyway. That's for next week's movie, so we're not talking about next week's film during this week's outro.
So you can talk about the film, but you cannot talk about the DVD commentary version of the film.
Yeah,
So,
I don't want to say anything in case Marina doesn't know
and
what's
Marina
up
hasn't
with
watched
it.
it. So for El Dandino, the Marina Love, Jason underscore Echoes, and me, Steve Des TV. We'll catch you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.